I was so depressed when I graduated from college.
Ooh, we gotta talk about that, man.
Bro,
Yeah, that's coming
because
up.
when I graduated from college, I worked, I was an education major. So
Mhm.
for me, my internships was student teaching. You feel me? But
Making peanuts. I know all about that.
right, but
I know
and I'm
all about
saying,
that.
and that's why I was gonna be a teacher, because I'm like, look, it's secure, and like I love kids. I love being able to help them see the world differently than the world
Hmm.
that they already have. Wagner was a majority black team,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so my deal was like, look, man, we like now the game has changed, right? So my uncle in the 80s, in the 70s, like if you want to graduate, you can graduate.
Right.
If you don't want to graduate and just want to play football and see where it goes, you can do that.
Right.
So when the 80s hit, they made people graduate, but it didn't mean you was gonna graduate with a degree.
Mm.
Like you see what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
graduating, or I should say that you could graduate with a degree, but it would be like you know, rec, a degree in recreation. And
Wow.
so we created Move because now dudes was graduating from a private institution that cost $60,000 with no contacts. Partly
Mm.
because while everyone else doing internships, you guys getting bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Syracuse this year, dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you talking about?
What you trying to go over the city for? We got a list.
So so the internships and the way of life of an athlete in the timetable in college was so different and not conducive to the athlete getting the same academic experience as just the student.
Right.
You would almost shout out to my man Martinez. Low key, y'all might want to get him one day too.
Yeah, for sure. I
With
already.
Josh?
Yo,
Yeah,
What
Josh.
Josh doing?
He live
Josh
by
a
me.
nurse,
He
bro.
a nurse.
And now
Oh
check
yeah, we
it.
need.
Now check it. Now Josh is a 6'3". Now Josh took a lot of crap when he was in that nursing
Yeah,
program.
he
Oh, yeah.
did. Yeah, he
Definitely.
did.
Definitely. I shot a couple at him. I ain't gonna lie.
And he ain't jaw
Bro,
nobody. At least I ain't see him
listen,
jaw
but no,
anybody. He took
this
a
how
lot.
this how I
Disrespect too.
this how I defended him on defense, though. All right, because this happened to me in high school because I needed an elective to graduate because I never took gym. Like I
Right.
played baseball, tennis, track, football, basketball. Like what I'm gonna take gym for,
Right.
right? And so they told me, hey, my counselor told me my last semester, hey, you need a elective, and all the gym classes were closed, and the only elective that was available that was a gym elective was dance. And so I said, hey, sign me up for that. Now, when everyone came in the gym, because the dance studio was in the gym,
Right.
right? And so everybody be hanging out in the gym, talking, snacking. You know how high school is. And then that bell go off. And then everyone, Leak, you hooping? It's like, no, I got class. It's like, this gym. I'm like, nah, I got class. Oh, Leak going over to the ballerinas. Right. So I took a lot of years, right?
Wow.
But here's the kicker. I said, and an old head put me on. An old head put me on. That's why I took ballerina dance. He said, bro, don't take no gym. And I didn't even remember. I was a young pup when he said it. He a senior. And he's like, I shouldn't have taken gym. I should have took ballerina. I'm like, why? He's like, I was like, that's right, Jerry Rice and all them. He like, nah, fool. That's where all the girls at. Yo.
Hey, Coach Hall, this is one thing I wanted to tell you before we get into it, and then next thing you know, y'all kids start crying and y'all gotta go. Hey, man, You made me almost want to come back for that 5th year. If the year wasn't over, I would have came back for my 5th year. You remember that convo we had?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
I was mad, boy. I went home, started punching air, man.
Yeah, I remember. Because I remember when you leave, when you walked away, I had to tell you to pull your pants up. I'm just like, man, coach, you got me thinking about something. You had the brush to you, like, I'm gonna think about that. You was with somebody too, though.
Yeah. I was probably some little shorty, man. I'm always with somebody little shorty, man. Somebody's daughter.
Well, moving
good. Hey, man, I was with somebody's daughter, man.
For the record, you ain't never see me do nothing, right? I ain't never see me with nobody, right?
No.
Me?
What?
You ain't never see me around campus with nobody, right?
Huh?
Oh, snap.
Yeah, bro. Don't ask no questions you don't want the real answer to. You got this on record.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Dom.
I'm Big A.
We got a special guest, Coach Malik Hall, one of the best coaches I've ever been around. You know, one of the best people that has ever come into my life, man. I'm so excited about this episode, man. Salute to you, Coach Hall. Just briefly, you know, how we met, you know, at Wagner, and the first time I met you, you had the biggest smile on your face, and it was like you already knew who I was and was ready to start talking trash. It was like, yeah, I'm the D coordinator, and we going to I never forget that, man. You brought the best out of me, Coach.
I appreciate that, man. Man, you boys, man. Listen, man. Interested enough, man. When I saw you guys doing a podcast, man, I just was like, yeah, that's something that I saw you guys having that before I knew podcasts were gonna be what they were. Like this y'all energy, this y'all vibration, no doubt.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. But you know, following the podcast, you know, we always like to start off with a quote. All right, we pick a quote for our guests and what we feel fits them, you know, from our perspective, fits their story or whatever. And the quote that we have for you, Coach, the quote that we have for you is from Tom Landry, one of the best coaches in NFL history. Leadership is a matter of having people look at you and gain confidence, right? And I want to unpack that real quick, and I want Ed to unpack that from his perspective, because, like I said from the beginning, the minute I saw you, you had the juices flowing, man, and it was ready for work. But you showed me a different side to you, even though you wasn't even my coach. You invited me into your office and we talked. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, all of the trash talking we did, defense versus offense, and going at it, man, it was just like you being able to relate to me, you know what I'm saying? Because I looked at a Division I coach here, you know, coming from the little small town I came from, and then for you to embrace me the way that you did will allow for me to open up a little bit more and be who I wanted to be. So I thank you for being an integral part of my life, Coach.
I appreciate that, man.
It's big
Eddie Ed.
It's big facts, man. This quote really encompasses Coach Hall, man. I was an offensive lineman, mind you, and it's the D coordinator. He's sending blitzes after blitzes after blitzes. And man, like, the love for Coach Hall was like easily probably most love I had for any of my coaches across the board, at least top 3 at worst. And it's just cause, man, like I said, like, it really is your energy when you come in the room, man. It's just like he said, smiling, and his energy. You better keep it up or you're gonna get trampled over. Like it's what's up. You know what I mean? Like over there had defense yelling because they scared. And we looking like, you're not scared, but are we? You know what I'm saying? like these man was about to come run us, right? Like, nah, this ain't it. But like it made you feel like as an offensive player that you was our coach. And like that's leadership right there, man. Being able to take those reins, even though they're not yours, that's a real leader. So that's what the quote means to me.
It's funny, man. When I think of that quote, I think of it in the reverse reverse fashion, right? I think of it like I'm a player.
Right.
And so I
Mm-hmm.
think of, I also feel like players can see through you. So
Mm-hmm.
you better off just being who you are. That genuine vibe that people come off. You can know when people be like, when they give you the fake dap, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like fake dap is not, it's no real connection, it's no real clap, it's no real embrace at the hand. It's kind of that like the wet fish dap, you know.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, man, I just feel like leaders recognize leaders because people recognize when people are being real with them.
Man,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Let's
Nah,
get in transition, man.
most definitely. So first question up, coach. First question up, coach.
All right.
When did you start coaching? Let's start from the beginning.
Oh, from the beginning, y'all. This is a great story. I got kicked out of my first school. I got kicked out of my first school. Shout out Tiffin, Ohio, man. I got a lot of great, had a lot of great friends out there, met a lot of great people. Played some good ball as a freshman, man. I had like 7 sacks.
Mm.
Um, but boy, I love John Madden, boy, NCAA football at the time.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that became a little more important than studying, man. And then I kind of got caught up with just trying to be an activist, and it is interesting. Like the school didn't put me out, I put myself out.
Right.
Like
Right.
you're just not doing the right thing. Like extracurricular activity is okay,
Mm-hmm.
but prioritizing is better, right?
Right.
So I get up there, get kicked out, and I don't have anything to do. And my buddy, my high school quarterback, who hung his cleats up because he had like pitcher's elbow or something like that, and he started coaching for the school as a student coach. But he was also getting asked to coach his little league team while he
Mm-hmm.
was going through school. And so when I came back home, I happened to be around the day they had the conversation. I'm like, man, me, you can do this, bro. We take these 12-year-olds and get money out here, bro.
Hmm.
You not playing no more. I'm trying to figure it out.
Right.
And lo and behold, he and I both coach his little league team. And man, boy, what a experience. Uh those kids, man, that's what made me realize I wanted to become a teacher though.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
so those kids, man, we were right off of Linwood and Dexter. Shout out Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we were off on Linwood and Dexter in the hood. And these kids, man, they were some kids. I still talk to one of them today.
Hmm.
Today. Like I've been when the pandemic started, he's coaching and he wanted some tips. So we were getting on Zoom and I was clinicking him. And he ran up on me at a clinic. And he like, now you gotta remember I had him when he was 12. Okay. In fact, he's probably how old are you? However old y'all are, I'm guessing he probably about 4 years older than y'all.
Oh man.
And
30.
so he ran up on me and he like and I mean he like this too. Now he a big dude. And I'm in Detroit. I'm like, you don't remember me, do you? I'm like, no. Man, my man Spence played at Eastern Michigan.
Mm.
Okay.
Like he was my quarterback at 11.
Right.
And so to see that come full circle, bro, in the right before the pandemic when I didn't know this was gonna be all in question.
Right.
Football was ever gonna come back for small schools. That was a reminder that God gave me football not just to play. He
Mm-hmm.
also
Yeah.
gave it to me to teach. And that was my first coaching job, man. The Detroit Pal Eagles, the A team. I
Where'd
had
you
all the kids.
so where'd you went go to college after that? Because I know you went back to college and you had a little story.
Oh man, the journey. You talking about the
Yeah,
journey.
You
yeah.
gotta
I
hear
was
it.
like
Tell
the
us about
Israelites, bro. I was in the desert.
that.
Yo, so okay. I come home and mom's, my family, I'm not first generation college,
Right,
right? So it wasn't like it was kind of like an expectation for me to go to school and graduate.
right.
Mhm.
And the irony of it, I'm only two in my generation is only two of us who graduated. And so mom's deuce was pissed, you know, my aunts was pissed. So I couldn't go to either of their house. So I hit my grandma up. And grandma was like, baby, you can always come to grandma house. So I got to grandma house and she was like, but you gotta have a plan. And so I said, Grandma, I still want to play football, but I don't even know where to start.
Right.
So I don't have no type of GPA. You know what I mean? So even if I called any of the people who were recruiting me before, they ain't gonna mess with me. She said, I don't know anything you talking about, baby, but you need a plan.
Right.
And so I reached out to this one coach who wrote an article on me when I was in high school. He had this magazine, and he's like, "Oh man, you ain't got no place to go." He was like, oh no, I'll call you tomorrow." Next thing I know, he had a Kansas JUCO on the line, Minnesota JUCO on the line, and a California JUCO on the line. And so the closest state to Michigan was Minnesota.
Mm.
And so I took the Minnesota deal, went out there in the spring semester after Christmas and just grinded. We were up there in Ely, Minnesota, Vermilion Community College. Shout out Coach Keith Turner. I wonder if Coach Turner's still coaching, but and so I went up there, bro, and I knew it was I couldn't be messing around this time. I politicked that to a few scholarship offers, and that's how I got to UMass.
So
You mad.
from UMass, you had got like a from UMass, you went to the NFL for a little bit, right?
Dog, when I say a little bit, like not like you. Went down. This is interesting, right? Because when I come out, I'm like not interested at this point at all.
Man,
I'm done.
tell us about that transition.
I'm done. And I get to church. Now remember, we talking about education earlier about how Move got created and how when I graduated and didn't try for the league like that because like I was ready to move on, bro.
Right.
This lifestyle was addictive. You know what I mean? And if you wasn't a player, you can't understand it. Like Saturdays after a game, win or loss, to just go off the deep end, whatever, and do whatever, would whoever. Wake up Sunday, do it again after you live, and then focus back for the week.
Right.
That is a rock star lifestyle, man, and you don't realize it until you hurt a few people along the way. You know what I mean? Uh, and so I'm like, man, all right, I'm done. And I get to church, and one of the dudes who used to train an NFL team who was in my church was like, bro, why you ain't picking up your phone? Now now cell phones back then, this is when you had to like pay for minutes. Y'all may not know that.
Now you had the Nokia joint, the brick
We
joint.
know that.
We know, we hip.
Okay.
The anytime minutes. You gotta wait till 7 o'clock and you call whoever you want.
Yeah.
Right. So, and the other thing, I didn't like them because that was just a way for my mom to keep up with me. So I would always let the battery die out, leave it somewhere. You know what I mean? Like they were still so new, everyone didn't have them. So no one was called. None of my people had cell phones other than my parents. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so he was like, "Why you didn't pick up your phone? I got these Canada teams calling, asking about you. I'm telling them you a player. It's time to get back in the gym." I'm like, "Man, what? Me? All right, man, let's do it. Let's go." And so, and I'm in a jar, dog, because Detroit's going through education reform. Michigan is, not just the city. And so they're laying off teachers. They're not hiring teachers. And I couldn't get a job. I got a job at an elementary school, and they laid me off a month after hiring me. And then I was working in a bookstore. That was probably one of my favorite jobs, though. Audio bookstore, in fact. Yeah. And that's when I got the call. He called the bookstore, like, looking for Malik. 6'5", 270, 65-year-old, rip. Malik, to you. I need you to be at the gym today, 6 o'clock. Don't make me come get you.
They deboed you.
Right. You better show up.
I'm like, and just hung up. I already knew who it was. I'm like, I show up at the gym, I'm getting it. Right. And sure enough, I get a few calls. They're like, "Hey, we gonna be in Windsor. Want you to come over the bridge, work you out. We'll have 4 teams." It was Windsor, the Hamel Tiger Cats, 2 other teams. I want to say Vancouver, maybe. But anyway, and so I'm working my tail off, dog. I'm getting back into shape. You know, I got a nice little belly, right? And so in college, they used to call me Swole Gut because it was big, but I had like shadow sick pack. You feel me?
Right.
And so I started seeing my shadow come back. I'm like, okay, all right, we get back. And so I'm working, and then I get another call from Tom Masella. Shout out to Wagner College, head coach at Wagner College. He like, "Hey, I need a D-line coach. Want to coach a D-line and get grad school?" And now, meanwhile, like, I'm getting Debo back into this playing thing on the low.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like whether he's calling teams for me or teams actually interested in me, like he got me back in it, and he got me some workouts that I got to be at in 4 weeks. And so, like, I could not be in the city and not be at that. So that wasn't even an option.
Right.
And so Marcel was like, "Hey, I can get you some grad courses. You get your master's, and I need a D-line coach." And so I go and talk to my trainer. He like, "Bro, I think if you really don't want to play, you need to go do that." I said, "Man, I don't mind playing, but if you telling me they signing me up there, I'll push it. But if you telling me I'm gonna have to run this 4.8 for them, and that's gonna be contingent on them signing me, all right, I think I can clock the 4.8. But if it's contingent," and he's like, "Cause you don't want to play no more." And he was right. Cause I would have clocked the hell out of that 4.8. Like, what are you talking about? Like, in hindsight, right? In hindsight, I would have ate it. But I didn't want to play anymore. And and really I didn't want to play anymore for a lot of reasons. Like I told you, the lifestyle was kind of, I've heard a few people along the way just calling it I'm playing football. And then like my body was beat up, man. Like I had a meniscus that never healed. I had an ankle that was was play. I could play on it, but that was starting to kind of feel something while I was training.
Mhm.
But while I was training, it was like a elixir. It was the elixir I needed to start like foaming at the mouth again. You know what I mean? Like, and as God may have it, it was the because I didn't want to coach college football either.
So
So
yeah.
it was the elixir to get me football ready because the carrot was graduate school. I wouldn't have to pay for it.
Right.
Right.
And I just had enrolled at Eastern Michigan for grad school. And it was gonna cost me 18 a year.
Oh,
And my mom and them was
yeah.
like, nah, we already did 4. These 2 is on you.
Go from what was it? Where you was at? UMass. Go
Yep, I
from
get off the field
UMass,
at UMass. Yep.
and from UMass you go Hofstra,
No, Central Connecticut.
Central Connecticut.
Ah.
Yeah, so this is what y'all didn't know, right?
That's your introduction to the East Coast.
Yeah.
That was Northeast Football 101 for me.
Ooh.
Because, and interesting enough, when we got to Central, so the Central y'all knew was the bangers, right?
Right.
The Central y'all played was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Now, when we got
Yeah,
to
they can
Central Connecticut, they had just went over. Yeah, they just went over. So, and they were like the doormat of the league. And so, shout out to Frank Vercucci, man, and Ed Argas and Thomas Sella, and a bunch of other coaches, but they were the catalysts.
Right.
Because what the combination that they had was just a great, I believe. See that 3-headed monster that we see with LeBron, that has always been a thing. It's just has not been a thing to where people were making offline deals to get to it.
Right.
It just they developed the 3-way monster most of the time.
Right.
And so Masella, being that he had a brand coming from UMass, he had a defense that was very aggressive in that time. And then he had a defensive coordinator who brought instant energy. Like, and what his genius was as a coordinator, Frank Vercucci, was he was gonna see what buttons would get you off edge. Right. And the thing is if you couldn't handle it, he would know you couldn't handle it, so he would pull off. If you could handle it, this is what that looked like. So if he got after a dude for missing a tackle, and the dude was like, okay, I got you, and went in there and smacked somebody and looked at him like, now what? He was like, yeah, he one of them.
Right.
Right. And so it took me a while because I had played for him.
That's you.
I played for him because he was a coach at UMass, but he wasn't one of my coaches. Right. And I had him for one game. They moved me like to outside linebacker. And man, his technique, the stuff he was teaching, I was soaking it up, but I was only there for a week. And he always had the best players on the squad. I'm just thinking that was coincidence, right? But it was how he talked to him in the meeting room, and then how he set a level of aggression on the football field for them to expect to output.
Right.
So he infused that to our whole defense, and then our offensive coordinator was like the mad scientist, just like, and it just worked, man. It just really worked. And we ripped off back-to-back championships there.
Right. So you just talked about your coaching kind of like mentors, you know what I mean? And it sounds like, you found that one coach that you gravitated towards. It's something like what we talked about in the beginning, and it kind of resembles your coaching style now. So what I want to ask you, because a lot of people, we haven't said it yet, you're a a black male head coach of a football team at a predominantly white institution,
Mhm.
what most people will call it. Um, how does that feel?
Um, I think that's a great question. I think I can't tell you I don't know I'm a black coach in a predominantly white institution.
Right.
That's not real. I would be remiss to say that. But I also would say um I never wanted to be looked at as one of the great black coaches. I always wanted to be looked at as one of the great coaches,
Yeah.
right? Um, I think that's the number one trap that I think we fall into with white media, right? When Cam Newton was going against Peyton Manning, they made it about him being a black quarterback. But the reality is he's a quarterback who's about to try to dethrone one of the a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Right.
Like
Mm-hmm.
that propaganda was so loud that he was trying to play for every black quarterback in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
He can play for him and his team and go beat one of the best quarterbacks. And when history writes it and when we talk about it as African Americans or black Americans, we'll talk about Cam as being the dude who dethroned Peyton Manning. And we don't have to say he black because we talking about him,
Yep.
right? But then I remember vividly, like, man, don't do it, Cam, don't do it. And it was like, so hey, how do you feel about being one of the first black quarterbacks next to my man Williams, Doug Williams, to potentially win the Super Bowl? And in my mind, like they got PR people. I mean, he has PR people. Black quarterback. I want to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right? Because they not gonna put a white winning quarterback in front of Peyton Manning name, are they?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me going. Next question, my
Go ahead, man. You got it.
Nah, no problem. Easy. So what advice, right, would you give to young coaches like the two of us coming
Right.
up through the ranks?
man. I guess what you guys are doing now, right? Let's say you guys are doing this 10 years from today and you're still coaching.
Mm-hmm.
You guys will have perennial teams because it's you're coaching something for your kids to see outside of just what I'm this X and O. Hey, when I call this pressure, you need to be your butt in that B gap, right? Like they go do that because they want to get the sack. They go slide the protection. They go kick slide like you want them because they want to win, right? But when I talk about teach to move, like you teaching them how to move when the game over, because you're giving them messaging that you put out in the social media that comes across their feed. And so my advice is, like, if you want to coach, coach.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to coach at a different level, work your tail off to find how to get to that level.
Right.
But once you decide that you want to coach, find what's going to make you a different coach that they can see you exhibit.
There's definitely going to be a part two of our conversation. But before we end the show, we always do this. We have an extra point segment. We call this point of the show extra point, just to allow our guests to ask us a question or to just talk about something that's totally off a topic that we didn't even mention or whatever, man. So,
all right, I got a question. All right, here we go. So, to Ed, right?
Uh-huh.
What made you say? Because I need my cuts of this too, guys. You feel me? I need the footage too. What I do, right? So Ed, what made you like really say like, man, I'm going to get this I'm going. I'm about to go as far as school let me go.
From a young age, I noticed that my mind was a little sharp, a little bit. Just being honest, it was just different. For a while, I tried to get away from it. I tried to be a clown. I tried to be a player. I tried to be all kinds of different stuff. And it was really just embracing who I was, understanding that that's what made me special. That's what made me stand out from others in the room. The fact that I could get to that level mentally. You know what I mean? Other than the fact that I'm like 6'3", 300 some pounds. But so using that gift and understanding, like you said, like that ankle, that's why I was like, yep, because I to this day when I run, I got a bad ankle. So I was like, there's but so much my physical body can take me to, right? I got times in football where I remember seeing white and waking up two hours later, but apparently I was living the whole time. So it was like I'm gonna use my mind now. That can't wear it down. You know what I mean? I've already taken my hit. It's done what it's gonna do. I'm gonna use my mind to try to propel me to the next level. I can always lift. You know what I mean? I knew there were little. I did flag football here and there, so I was always able to play a little bit. And I still missed the contact of the game, but I figured that life was a long trip. And even though it was only 10 years ago, it feels like an eternity ago we played. And I just decided to bet on my mind and grow that a little bit. I love it.
I got one for you, Don.
All right,
All right. So after going pro, um, and when you came out of it, what was the hardest part about adjusting to like, man, like, yo, I'm not a baller no more?
The hardest part was to watch football on television and to see some of the people still balling that I was, you know, doing in. You know what I'm saying? It's like you try not to compare when you're there, but it's like the NFL. So now you're looking around like, oh man, I didn't think I could make it really, but I just shifted my mind to say I'm going to do it regardless. And I make it, and I'm like, I'm pretty good. Oh, I'm actually really good. And then to see some of those people that I felt like I was better than, I hadn't even reached my peak. Yeah, I was just getting into my prime when all the injuries happened. So it was like to see some of the people that I was better than start making millions of dollars. I'm sitting here yelling and crying at the TV like, why you do that to me, God? Like I was there. You showed me I had it. I fought all my life to get to this point, and then you just gonna throw that in my face. You know what I'm saying? So I had to deal with that. I had to unpack that and really realize that everybody that I spoke to after that says, God got something bigger for you. They had no clue what I was going through. You know what I'm saying? It's like, God got something bigger for you. I'm like, all right. I meet somebody that don't know me worth a can of paint. I'm telling them I play football, I do this. God got something bigger for you. So if I'm continuing to hear the same thing from other people that don't know me and then my family and friends, then I got to listen to it. And I got to start. And I started to tap into my gifts, trying to figure out like, okay, what am I really good at without effort? Now I know what I'm good at without effort, and I'm going to maximize it because, like they said, God got something bigger for me, and that's what our gifts are for.
And that's dope, man. That's those are all the bars I needed for my deal. I appreciate
it. Man, yeah. But man, Coach Hall, thank you so much, man.
Hey,
again,
wait. Y'all not gonna ask me about the song? I got my song, dog.
Oh, get the song ready.
Oh yeah, get you.
Dog, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, check it. Right. I know, and hip hop is a lot of things right now.
Right.
There's two artists I'm gonna put out there for your listeners because you should. Wait, I'm losing my thought. God dog. Okay. So these two artists, right? One of them is a hip hop rapper, a Christian rapper, but bars on deck. His name is Eshawn Burgundy.
Eshawn Burgundy.
I'm telling you, bars on deck, okay? And then, okay, another young cat. These young cats, these cats, they ain't even in my generation.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna put you guys on another cat, West Coast cat that I just came up on. He come out of Absol, Kendrick Lamar and them crew, young boy. His name is Reason. One is a Christian hip hop rapper, and the other one is just bringing soulful bars. But right now, those are the two artists I've been on pretty heavy.
Oh yeah, we definitely want to take a listen to that.
Definitely gonna let Eshawn and Reason know so they can plug.
Yeah, you know what?
Free plugs for y'all boys.
Hey, I know what time it is. I'm trying to
plug.
Everybody don't make what?
Scared money
don't make money.
You know that one.
Hey, I'm a D coordinator now, and I use it.
Oh, I tell my boys all the time. You can't go get them.
Guys, look, man. Hey, man, I love what y'all doing. Hey, man, stay on your PIT, bro.
You already know.
Hey, you already know.
I'm down.
Sir. I'm A.
Yeah.
Peace.